and a very warm welcome. We have the honor to have Jordi Sebastià, MEP and co-chair of the Intergroup for Traditional Minorities, National Communities and Languages with us here today. In the course of this interview, we will speak about the Parliamentary Intergroup, its priority areas and possible developments with regard to minority and minority language rights. Thank you for being here today with us, Jordi.
Thank you, Eva, for inviting me.
Well, let's start with a general question. What can you tell us about the Intergroup for Traditional Minorities, National Communities and Languages? What is your role in there?
Well, I am the co-chair, one of the three co-chairs in the Intergroup. For the IFA group, it was very important to have a very relevant presence in this Intergroup, because one of the focuses of this Intergroup is to fight for national minorities in Europe and also minority languages, or, which is not the same, languages considered as the minority languages. This is one of the focus in our work as the IFA European Party, and because of that we wanted to have a relevant presence there, and because of that I was chosen as one of the co-chairs in the Intergroup.
And what do you think is the reason for having it re-established, and why is it so important?
Well, we can say that almost 1/3 of the population in Europe is a part of these minorities, language minorities, national minorities, ethnic minorities. That means that a very, very important number of people living in Europe has a problem with their normal life. National problem, linguistic problem, and that means that it must be a very important, a key issue for the European politics. But it's not. That's the real thing, that all the European Commissions has never considered the problem of minorities in Europe as a main question. Because of that, it's important to have an intergroup in the Parliament to fight for the rights of so many people.
So you are saying that many people are affected by these kind of issues. Do you have a priority in the Intergroup at this very moment? Are there areas that require special attention?
Yes, we have noticed that in most of the Eastern countries which have entered into the European Union after in the last group of states, we have discovered that most of them have a lot of minorities who are really suffering a very high discrimination. In this moment, we have a lot of problems also with Catalan language, Basque language, other countries, and of course this is one of our focus of working. But we have noticed that after being members of the European Union, a lot of Eastern states have started a very persecution politic against this minority. And because of that, this is one of our priorities. But in general, of course, the priorities of the Intergroup is the defense of diversity, linguistic, national, and ethical diversity in Europe, because diversity means Europe. If you don't understand this, you can't understand the real Europe.
So there are problems that come from back in time. And how do you then see previous efforts with regard to protection of minority languages, like the report of François Alfonsi?
Well, I think that report was very important because for the first time the European Parliament approved with a large majority a declaration which in a very clear way showed that it was very important to defend the diversity, the linguistic diversity all over Europe. And that means that at least we have this declaration, at least we have an intention of the European Parliament, and so it's very important to have had such a large support. What we need now is to implement this declaration with real politics.
And what about the current MP&D roadmap for linguistic diversity?
Well, I think this is a very interesting work. We have some of the people responsible of the roadmap in our intergroup, showing the rest of the members their work, and they have done the first part of the work, which is the theoretical work and also a project for the future. And what we need, like always, is the implementing with a compromise by the institutions, European Commission, European Committee of Regions, and this is our work, to press, to push, to stress this kind of groups who really have the power to implement the work that other people has already done.
In 2014, the European Free Alliance published the Strasbourg Manifesto on the protection of national minorities and languages, stressing a coherent monitoring mechanism for minorities protection on the European level. How could, in your opinion, such a mechanism work?
Well, this mechanism, I think the methodology is perfect. This mechanism could be very useful to detect where are the problems, and also to denounce which kind of problems we are talking about. The problem is that we need the support of authorities, we need the support of institutions to really have this monitoring. So we have the tool, a very good tool, but we need somebody with enough power to use it. I think that we are doing something in that way with some regional officially of, in our opinion, national governments who has decided to act in this point. Catalan government, Basque government, and this is very important because they are using this tool, they are using the list of the things we want to monitor to know the evolution of different minority languages and if there is any discrimination, and this is very, very important. But we find always the same problem that we need the support of institutions, and we have to, the moment, only these institutions who are not really, they don't have really the national power of a state government.
Thank you very much for this very interesting input, Jordi, and we wish you every success as an MEP and in your work in the Parliamentary Intergroup.
Thank you very much. It's a very big pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to express this kind of opinions that are not the most popular in the media, but they are very important for a lot of people in Europe and all over the world.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
We've been discussing with Jordi Sebastià about his role in the Intergroup for traditional minorities, national communities and languages, and the impact of this Intergroup and other institutions on the protection of minorities and minority languages. We hope you all enjoyed the discussion, and thank you very much for following us. Goodbye.